So why is it hard for young people to get ahead? Financial expert Brian Pearson with American Benefits Exchange is here to talk with us this morning. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
A very timely topic as graduation approaches, and even for those students that are newly out of school.
Right, right.
What are some of the mistakes that or challenges that millennials are facing today that you see?
Sure. Well, first of all, going into it, understanding millennials, they right now are considered to be the lowest group of individuals that have financial knowledge. And so a recent study showed that 8% of over 5,000 millennials that were surveyed had a high level of financial literacy, whereas only 24% had basic knowledge of things, even like financial aspects, mortgages, CDs, money markets, the stock market, things like that.
So their vocabulary is just absent.
Well, it seems, according to studies, various reports, that millennials need to spend a little more time maybe educating themselves on finances, on money, and maybe becoming less dependent on mom and dad, who could be enabling.
Speaking of mom and dad, breaking free from your parents, what are some of the ways and the steps that kids can kind of start doing that?
Sure. Well, first of all, staying out of debt, because that's a game changer. When you're not in debt, you're not strapped with a big mortgage, car payments, credit card, consumer debt. That again is a game changer, and you'd be surprised. Millennials, the majority, are actually carrying credit card debt over month after month and year after year. So staying out of debt, also with health insurance or medical expenses. Major medical expenses could wipe somebody out, could create years of financial troubles. And nowadays there are so many health insurance options, so many carriers that actually cater to millennials that should not be an issue. And so those are a couple areas where they can start.
And savings, that's another important one to be mindful of.
Right. Well, absolutely, because as millennials are entering the workforce, so many companies offer retirement plans such as a 401k. So many companies actually will match whatever a millennial is contributing to that. So if at all possible, they should at least be contributing, and if even possible, maybe try to maximize that, because time is on their side. They can let the interest work for them, receive that free matching money, and get ahead.
You'll be amazed that if you just leave it there and don't really stress and fret over it, that number will grow over time.
And that's the idea too, is to put it away into a 401k or some other type of instrument that is not as accessible as running to the ATM and pulling the money back out.
Yes. And as far as the common money mistakes that millennials make, what are some of those and how can they be avoided?
Sure. Well, first of all, establishing a good credit history. And, a lot of us think about a home loan, car loans, and obviously a good credit history plays a role there. But also it's as simple as obtaining a cell phone, or other things where credit, other areas where credit comes into play. So the credit, a good credit history is very important, and then also not having too many credit cards, because that encourages overspending, that puts a lot of temptation on individuals where you get in a position where you can't pay that back every month and pay off the balance. Graduates are really strapped with financial debt. In fact, millennials have set a new record, if you will, with financial loans for schooling. And according to Sally Mae, there's over $1.4 trillion right now in student loan debt. And 65% of those that borrowed $50,000 or more are graduates. So a lot of millennials are going right back to school to get that graduate degree, and I encourage them to maybe look and study that to see if that graduate degree actually is going to pay off and
crunch those numbers
right
there. And then also another one that a lot of people are guilty of, eating out too much.
Right. The average American spends $232 per month, which is about $12 per meal eating out. So we encourage people to take a look at that. Obviously, limit the eating out. Stick with a budget when it comes to what you've allocated to spend on eating out each month.
And then rent. It's high, but overpaying is one place that you can kind of cut back.
It is.
In terms of your budget.
It's a very popular area, and also experts tell us that you should not be spending more than 30% of your income on rent. And so that's 1/3 nearly of your entire budget. So that's an area where shopping around, being smart, maybe getting a roommate, maybe looking at where you're actually residing, you can be smart with your money.
And then quickly, some of the first steps for millennials or new graduates coming this spring. What are some of the things that they should do?
Well, two areas that I really focus on. Number one is establishing a budget. And you know, it's not to sit here and necessarily pick on millennials, because all of us, all age groups, are really bad about establishing a budget. And as one famous individual who deals with money says, every dollar has a name. And so we should treat our money like that, where every dollar has a name, and we should be able to know where those dollars are going every month. Second thing is stay out of debt. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's a game changer if you're not strapped with debt. It gives you a lot of versatility, flexibility, options, and it takes a lot of stress off.
Absolutely. Brian Pearson, thanks for talking some dollars and cents with us this morning. We appreciate all the helpful information.